Christmas, although it would be nice if it were. I played that tune particularly because it's going to relate to what we're going to discuss. First of all, let me cover a few things. These next couple of videos are going to be covering the basics of music. Some of the stuff I'm going to repeat what we talked about before, just because they cross. But underneath the video on the class page is what do they call that? It's a link. It's a link to a music intro video. And I watched it. I think it's a pretty informative video. A lot of what I'm going to talk about is on there, and a little bit more. But I don't want you to watch the whole thing. You can watch the whole thing if you want to, but if you look under the description under the video, it tells you where to stop watching. With that said and done, there's also a link for you to go and print out a keyboard. This is my keyboard. If you were in class, I'd be handing you one of these. On the link to the keyboard printout, you can get them just blank like mine, or they'll have the letters on the keys and the names of the notes. If you haven't already downloaded one of these, there's pictures in your book, but they're awfully small. Blow it up a little bit, it's a lot easier to read. We're going to be spelling some scales, and you're going to need the keyboard. It will help you out greatly in spelling scales. So if you haven't already got one keyboard, go ahead and get you a keyboard. If you have a keyboard at home that you can play, that's just as good. In fact, probably better, actually better. All right, first of all, what is music? Music is organized sound. But how is it organized? By time. All right, so we've already gone through that with our discussions of John Cage, but we're going to learn now how sound is created. Sound is created when air is caused to vibrate, and as it vibrates at certain speeds, when it reaches our ear, it transitions into what we consider sound. For instance, an oscilloscope is a machine that measures the speeds of vibrations, and they come in waves, vibration in waves. These are called cycles per second. You start the vibration here. When something vibrates, it goes up and down, up and down. Start here, it cycles up, and when it comes down, that's one cycle. 2 cycles. The vibrations going at this speed will make a certain pitch. For instance, that pitch is known as A440, meaning that the vibrations go up and down 440 times per second to create that pitch of A. If we double the speed, which I know is not a very good representation, but if you double the speed, it goes from 440 cycles per second to 880 cycles, and you have this note. Here's the first one. The second one is twice the speed, and it doubles the pitch higher. Going to get into a little more. The longer the bigger the instrument, the lower the sound, because it has slower vibrations. The smaller the instrument, the higher the sound, because it has faster vibrations. The speed is going Here's a big yardstick, here's a little ruler. I'm going to hold it on the end of the table here, and I'm going to make it vibrate. And as I do this, the vibrating part, this as it comes onto the countertop, it stops vibrating. So the vibrating part is actually getting shorter. Notice what happens to the pitch when I make the part shorter. Try it one more time. Do it up here. It goes up. The shorter stick should sound higher to begin with, but it's also going to get even higher. Or it doesn't go backwards. All right, so the shorter the medium that the vibrations are going through, the smaller the medium, the higher the pitch. No, I'm not going to sing you a love song. Here is, that is the string of E. And if I bring my fingers up here on what's called the frets and I press down, now I'm stopping the string from the whole string vibrating to just this much of the string, in reality making the string shorter, and so the pitch should be higher. Here's the string itself, by itself. I'm going to make the string shorter. That. Or make it longer. Get the idea of the longer, the slower the vibrations, the lower the sound, faster the vibrations, the higher the sound. Now, this is a real crash course. So we have all these sounds. I'm using a keyboard piano. I just play from this note up to this note. Now I'm going to play from this note, just the white keys, going down to this note. And how does that relate to the opening joy tune? Because I'm just playing this note down to this note, and I'm going to put a little rhythm, different lengths of time on the notes. That's just playing from here, going backwards, going down. The left side of the keyboard is low and high. Okay, so the highness and lowness of sounds we call pitch. Pitch is the highness or lowness of sound. Each one of these keys on a piano keyboard represents a different pitch. Each one of these keys has been given a name, a letter name, and in music we use just the first 7 letters of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Here's A through G. Well, there's a whole lot more notes than that. That's only 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes. But you know there are 88 keys on a piano. Each one has a different pitch. So after we get done with G and we keep going higher, we start over with A. And so on and so forth. on the keyboard, piano keyboard, if you've got your paper one and you print it and a blank one out, here's the note. The first key on your keyboard is a C. Then we have a D, an E, F, G, A, B, and after B we start over with C again. It keeps going. Well, I've drawn a partial keyboard, but it keeps continuing all the way up there. So now we know the names of the keys on the piano. The black keys also have names, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But we need to be able to know which key on the keyboard to play. So music is written on a grid of types. It's called a staff. Definition of a staff is 5 lines and 4 spaces upon which music is noted. 5 lines and 4 spaces. Since there's 1 line, 2 lines, 3, 4, and 5. In music, we start from the bottom and we go up. This is line this is line number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. This, we will find out in the next lesson, is called a whole note. I'm going to use whole notes now to represent the different pitches on the staff. This note is, and then when I see this note on the 4th line, I know to play this key. So now, the first note I played was right here, that's called an A. The second note was right here, that's called a D. So when I see this note right here, I know it's an A. A note right here, I know it's a D. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself. A note is either on the line or in the space. If the line goes right through the note, that note is considered to be on the line. If the note is between 2 lines, that means that note is in a space. I can't hear your response, but I'm going to just point at some notes and see if you can tell me line or space. And I'm going to keep track. This note is in the space or on the line? Space or line? Space or line? Space or line? And space or line? I went space, line, space, line, space. Hope you got them right. Now, we have to learn which lines tell us which letter name of the note to play on the keyboard. The lines have names. Each line is named. And we go from the bottom line to the top of the line. Top line, bottom line. If a note is sitting on that line, that note is letter E. The second line is the note G. Third line is B. Fourth line is D. Fifth line is F. E, G, B, D, F. On your test, if you tell me they go F, F, D, B, G, E, that's wrong. This goes from the bottom to the top. There is a mnemonic, which is a memory device that many people know. Every good boy does fine. Going from the bottom to the top. Every good boy does fine. E, G, B, D, F. And if a note is in the space, it also has a name. The first space is F. Second space is A. Third space is C. Fourth space is E. Spells a word. Face. Every good boy does fine. And face. And if you go line space, line space, line space, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, goes right on up. And guess what? There are more notes than that. So, that note would be, if we had continuing lines, that note would be in a space. After the letter F comes the letter G. So that note would be a G. And now we're going to shorten that line and put a note on it. And that would be an A. And we do have notes that go above the staff. The staff just gives you a base, a home base, and when we go above, we have to add and subtract lines. So let's say we want to play a note even higher than that A. Let's say we wanted to play that note. How do we figure it out? F, G, A, B, C, D, E. That is a really high E. These lines are called ledger lines. Ledger lines extend the staff. Now, we also have ledger lines that can go below the staff. I'm going to, I have to tell you. So now let's go backwards. Remember, we're doing the alphabet from the bottom up. So when we go down, we have to think of the letter name that comes before the one here. This bottom line is E. So if we draw a note just under the E, what letter comes before E in the alphabet? That would be a D. If we do a ledger line and put a note on it, we have E, D, this would be a C. In fact, this is called middle C. If you look at a piano, that is the note in the middle of the piano. If you don't have an 88 key keyboard or piano, then it may be off center a little bit, but it is called middle C because it is in the middle of the piano keyboard. And we have ledger lines that go on down. Now, all these notes are high notes, and the name of this staff, we have a little sign called the treble clef staff. So the treble clef staff basically is your right, if you play piano music, it's your right hand. Plays all the high notes. The fun thing about the treble clef staff is being able to draw one. I'm going to show you how. This is a staff that I just drew. You take your pencil, that would be an imaginary line above, and draw it all the way down to the first line. I'm going to do it in steps. I'd like for you to try it also, because if you can get to where you can draw this, you're going to impress your friends. Then you take your pencil, go to the top line, come all the way down to the fourth line, make a half circle. Then you take your pencil, go to the connection, the intersection, and draw another half circle. down to the bottom line. Then you take your pencil and you go to the connection down here and make a circle that cuts into the middle of the second space. And then to finish it off, put a little monkey tail. This is the treble clef staff sign, the treble clef sign, and treble, for our purposes, equals high notes. For our purposes, treble clef or the treble is the high notes. What about the low notes, you say? Well, the low notes have their own staff also. We're not going to go through the line, space, so I'm just going to give you the names. This is the bass clef. This is the bass clef sign. And all you do to draw a bass clef is you start on the fourth line, go up a little above the top line, come down here, and put two dots. That's half of a heart. If we did a heart, it's just half of a heart. And put these two lines on either side of the fourth line. 1, 2, 3, 4. The names of the notes in the bass clef, the bottom line is G, then B, then D, then F, and then A. The spaces are A, C, E, and G. The way to remember this, taught by many, many people, is good boys do fine always. Good boys do fine always is the names of the lines at the bottom of the bass clef, G, B, D, F, A, and the spaces, the mnemonic that people use for the spaces in the bass clef. All cows eat grass. So if we have a note sitting in this space, we know it's in the C space. This is to play the note C in the bass clef. Now, if treble means high notes, bass must mean low notes. Bass clef are the low notes, and that's the clef, the staff that tuba is all playing. You will need to know the names of your lines and spaces for treble and bass clef, and know that bass clef are low notes, treble clef are high notes. This is the bass clef and the treble clef, and we're going to take lines, these are called bar lines, and we're going to connect them together. So now we have the treble clef staff and the bass clef staff. Here's kind of interesting. Let's do just the lines. Bass clef is G, B, D, F, and A. And if we go up here and make a ledger line right in the middle, that would be C. Go up another line, we have E. And then look, we're back E, G, B, D, and F. So if we did our line space for the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. After G, we start over. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. That's the bass clef and the treble clef together. That's called the grand staff. The grand staff is the treble and bass clef together. And this is the music that piano players and organ players and other keyboard instrument players, the right hand basically plays the treble clef, the left hand basically plays the bass clef. High notes in the right hand, low notes with the left hand. Alrighty, that was the treble clef and the bass clef. I told you how pitches were created by the speed of vibrations. And there's another term I want to cover, and it's called dynamics. This is one of the things that I mentioned we're going to repeat from earlier videos. I know we've talked about dynamics and how the different styles of dynamics gradually getting louder with the crescendo and the decrescendo sign, how some dynamics got automatically louder or automatically softer. The terrorist, not terrorist, terrorist, not terrorist. The terrorist dynamics. Well, now we're going to learn some terminology for those. Remember, dynamics is how loud. I'm just going to stop that. Let's go loudness. Loudness of the pitch. Forte, represented by simply the letter F, means loud. Piano, represented by the letter P, means soft. There are varying degrees between these soft and loud, but when a musician sees forte or the letter F above his notes, he knows to play that note loud. Remember the crescendo, which means gradually get louder. There would be the letter P at the bottom and a letter F to the right. So that tells us we go from soft to loud. Now, if we were going to go from loud to soft, and this is gradually, we would still have the letters in the same space, but now the decrescendo sign. Remember the crescendo, now decrescendo. Piano means soft, and forte means loud. Those are the two dynamic levels I'm going to expect for you to know for this video course. I really would much rather be teaching this class in person because you would comprehend and understand, and I'm just flying through this because I don't know what your needs are. Good thing with the video though, you can rewind it and play again. All these terms and everything are covered in your textbook, but they go much, much more in depth, and I believe it may confuse you. But if you have a question about a term, you can go to the textbook. Again, the video on Intro to Music will cover all this, or most of it, or some of it, in a different way, and you may pick it up easier from there. Let's see, we've done staff, treble clef, bass clef, grand staff, ledger lines, all right. dynamics. Let me check real quick on these, make sure I'm getting everything picked up in here. Okay. So basically, if you were to be successful with this video, you should be able to look at this, know that, oh, this is in the right hand, it's treble clef staff, this note is in the space, the third space, so I know to play this exact note on the piano. The note C. That's it. And same thing with the bass clef and the left hand. The next video, next class, we're going to cover rhythm. And scales. You're going to need to know how to scale. A scale is basically the finger patterns to tell people which notes to play on the keyboard. And the second half, I'm going to stop now and do another video on your From Then to Now project. And I would like for you to, there will be a Turn It In place on the Moodle page to where you turn in your From Then to Now project. I'm not sure if you can do PowerPoints and turn them in on the Turn It In Now, because this is my first experience with this. I believe you can insert a PowerPoint in there, but if not, I will find out. In fact, I'm going to stop this video right now and go find out the answer to that. And when I come back, I'm going to do another video that is still part of today's lesson to show you how to do your From Then to Now project so you can turn it in. In the next class time, we're going to talk about rhythms and scales and your form and analysis project. And the last class date, we will have our final exam, which will cover everything from the Middle Ages all the way down through this music basic stuff, music basic information that we're covering now. Last day of class will be your final exam and for you to turn in your form and analysis. I will cover that next class time. But on this next video, I want you to watch along with this class period, we're going to cover your From Then to Now project.